advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Maayong gabi, masanto siya sa labin si kayo amin. Maayong gabi sa Tibok Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, hanggang Sabah po. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Ito po ang inyong Republika. Ako si Eric Espina. Noong ilang mga linggong nakaraan ay may ilang mga Pilipino, grupo ng mga Pilipino na nagkaroon sila o nagkumilos sila at nagkaroon ng isang protesta. Kung hindi ako nagkakamali ay sa harapan mismo ng Embahada ng People's Republic of China. Hindi po madalas na nangyayari ito. Kadalasan ang mga protesta ay nagaganap sa Embahada ng Amerika. Ngunit sa pagkakataong ito ay nagkaroon ng tinig ang isang sektor ng ating lipunan na manindigan at maglabas ng hinain at dumighay sa harap mismo ng mga Chino o ng People's Republic of China patungkol po sa West Philippine Sea. Sa gabing ito ay kikilalanin natin ang mga muka o ang mismong haligi sa grupong ito at aalamin natin kung ano ang kanilang layunin at karapat ba dapat bang ating samahan sila at lalo pang palawigin dahil mukhang maganda itong samahan nila. Walang iba po kung hindi si Rafael Alunan III. Siya po ang co-convener ng West Philippine Sea. Ang ating titulo ng ating programa ay Whole Nation Sovereignty. Good evening, Secretary.
Eric, thank you for inviting.
Yes. This group that you put up, give us an idea how this started, who are the personalities involved?
Nag-umpisa lang naman ito sa Facebook.
Of virtual, okay.
It's a virtual organization or coalition. And it began with me and Nick Sotelo, the son of General Tony Sotelo.
Yes.
And we were exchanging a lot of comments with our friends in Facebook about what China was doing.
Okay.
And we were saying, ano ba naman ito? What's happening and why isn't anybody really rising up to protest?
You were venting.
We were venting.
With each other.
Nag-vent lang naman kami.
Oh, okay.
And most of those who were chatting were those who once wore the uniform.
Okay.
So one night, I told Nick, hey Nick, why don't we just connect with everybody here in Facebook who once wore the uniform?
Yeah.
And let's see if we can protest before the Chinese consulate.
Yes.
Not the embassy, by the way. It's the consulate because the embassy is in Dasmariñas.
Yes, okay. Yeah.
The consulate is in World Center.
Matalino sila eh. Tinago nila sa Dasma.
Oo, tama.
Okay.
And Nick immediately put up he posted something on Facebook.
Okay.
And set up a page for those who would be interested to protest. And it caught fire. The idea caught fire. Now, why July 24?
Yes.
July 24, for two reasons. I was in the U.S. in June, and I learned in New York that the Phil-Am group over there was going to stage a protest before the UN on July 24.
Oh.
And actually, July 24 is the date I remember very well because I spoke about it on Facebook. That was the day when China set up Sansha City
Yes.
in Hainan to administer the reefs and shoals in the South China Sea. In other words, they wanted to legitimize their territorial grab by putting up a city, an administrative unit, to manage or to govern. So that was a good date. And from there, we said, look, if we're going to participate in a protest rally against the Chinese, why don't we ask Filipinos all over the world
to do it?
Yeah, and let's just use Facebook, to reach out. In a matter of 60 days, up to the day that we protested on July 24, by golly, there were protests in, I think, four or five cities in the U.S. There was in Canada, there was in Italy, of course here in the Philippines. I'm not sure about Vietnam. I think there may have been. There may have been in Vietnam, because in our protest rally, we had a contingent from Vietnam that joined us in solidarity.
Is this the direction where we're going? I think this is like a snowball, no, so to speak, but catching fire in a different sense. Is this where we're going? I mean, we're letting our people, make a stand in the different embassies against Chinese incursions.
Well, after that protest rally, we met again, and we said, let's sit down and really organize ourselves. No? What is it that we're really standing for, right? And that was Roy Goles, ex-Navy.
Okay, yes.
Nick Sotelo,
Ex-Air Force, yes.
And yours truly, ex-Army.
Army, yes, yes, of course.
And no matter what, we all have our links, no, up
yes,
to now.
yes.
And we said, what we can do is supplement government's efforts.
Ang kulang na lang yung police, no? Because you were once Secretary of the Interior and Local Government.
I represent them too.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sige. Okay.
Ex-SAF.
Okay.
So we said, look, let's help the government from the standpoint of the citizens, no? Kasi both government and citizens have to stand up as one.
Yes.
We have to project unity. And we said, let's supplement the information effort, because we need to get as many Filipinos informed,
yes,
and aware about
yes,
what's going on,
yes,
so that they can engage. Okay, that's one. Second, we have to help in the effort of reaching out to China. And there in China, we have two audiences: the government,
yes,
and the people. And the people have to know that this is not against them. This is not anti-Chinese.
Okay.
This is anti-China policy.
Okay.
And more specifically, anti-China imperialist agenda.
Okay.
That's what we have to express and demonstrate. And then there's a third audience, that's the global audience. We have to let them know that what China is doing is pure aggression in our EEZ.
Yes, yes.
Where we have sovereign rights
yes,
to its resources.
Yes, yes.
And which they're trying to grab away from us. No? And they have to we have to let the world know that China is employing mafia tactics.
Okay.
You know? They occupy our territory and then
bully
they threaten
tactics,
us.
yeah.
It's bully tactics. It's typically mafia tactics.
Yes,
no?
yeah.
They grab your property and then they threaten you with harm. No? If you don't cooperate. So, we're a free nation. We may be a weak nation,
yes,
but we are a free nation.
yes,
And we have to stand our ground.
yes,
We have to stand united, and we have to defy a strong neighbor that's abusing us and neighboring countries in the South China Sea.
Is the group planning to also come up to certain engagements with our allies like the United States, Japan, South Korea in those terms, or you're keeping within those target audience?
Well, let's put it this way: we're citizens, right? We
Okay.
have no authority.
Okay.
Right? It's only the government that has the authority.
Okay.
But we can link up with people all over the world
Okay.
who signify solidarity with our objective, no? Which is to ultimately show the world that China is on the wrong side of history, all right? That it should follow a rules-based regime, that it should adhere to the provisions of UNCLOS,
Yes.
to which it is a signatory,
Yes.
and that it should honor ITLOS,
Okay.
where we elevated our case.
Uh-huh.
And hopefully for China to respect the decision of ITLOS if it goes against.
There's one area. Are you intending to come up with representations vis-a-vis our government? Because that's where the real arena is.
Probably in due time, but at
Okay.
this particular point, information, the need for information, the right information being delivered to the right audience
Yes.
is important. That too, I think you mentioned a very important point. We need to either support the government where it's doing right,
Yes.
and then to advise them
Uh-huh.
in case they're not doing things right or not doing anything at all.
Uh-huh.
So that's part of the agenda.
How would you view now the current position of the government? Do they need more prodding? Are they on the right track? As a citizen, I mean, your group, I mean, what is the consensus?
Okay, we have been talking about that, and we can only base it on what we read
Yes.
and what we hear.
Yes.
Right? And the most telling was that in the last SONA, the president didn't say anything about it.
Yes.
So we were
It was
speculating.
deafening.
It was deafening, but we were
The silence was
speculating.
deafening, yes.
Is he trying to keep his cards close to his chest?
Yes.
Because things are already, pretty dicey.
Yes.
Or does he have nothing to say?
Uh-huh.
Doesn't he have anything to say on the matter? No.
How
So-
about when you dovetail that with the fact that there was no statement about China? He talks about poverty and then the cost of buying airplanes. How does that all sound to you? Was it trying to justify the fact that it's a question of putting cents and dollars or to the costings of poverty vis-a-vis self-defense? What is it, national defense?
Well, I couldn't understand that point kasi meron namang, I think there's an order for 12 lead-in fighters from Korea, no?
Oo.
The FA-50.
Oo.
Of course, there are quarters who are saying, for that same amount
Uh-huh.
that you're paying per lead-in fighter,
Yeah.
you can buy a 4th or 5th generation fighter
Okay.
known as the JA-59 Gripen
Okay.
from Sweden,
Sweden, yes.
right? Without fooling around anymore with the safety and the lives of our pilots, riding the FA-50.
Yes.
Because the danger that we face in the West Philippine Sea is pretty clear.
Yes.
It's a clear and present danger,
Uh-huh.
right? But that's us civilians talking, right?
Yeah.
The experts may have a different view.
Let me interject something.
Yeah.
The first official pronouncement coming from a cabinet level was Secretary Orlando Mercado. Do you remember? When he went on paper, on the record, when he said, China is on a creeping invasion. That would have signaled already for us that we should have been,
Actually, we knew that in 1995.
okay,
In fact, there were a number of quiet meetings of the National Security Council
yes,
that President Ramos called,
yes,
where we got briefings about the incursions of China and the temporary shelter that they put up in Mischief Reef,
yes,
right? Which subsequently led to the Ramos administration to get Congress to enact the AFP Modernization Act.
okay,
That was passed shortly after his request. But two things happened. No? One is that it took time to put together the organization
yes,
to manage the fund.
yes.